So, good morning, everyone. Good evening for the people that are in the Greek time zone. Welcome to this special edition of the THETIDA webinar series, organized in close collaboration with the Green Cluster of EU-funded projects, climate effect projects. My name is Dimitris Maragos. From the Institute of Communication and Computer Systems, ICCS Greece, and the THETIDA project, and I will be more than happy to moderate today's webinar. We are really happy to see you all here. We had a very strong interest. More than 150 people have been registered. Hopefully we'll have even more that will join today from different scientific backgrounds and of course from Europe and beyond. Also, thank you very much for being here. Today's webinar brings together 4 Horizon Europe projects: THETIDA, TRIQUETRA, RescueME, and STECCI, all working at the forefront of cultural heritage protection in the face of climate change, environmental stress, and disaster risks. Before we begin, a few practical notes. The webinar will last approximately 2 hours, including the time for discussion. Each presentation will be up to 15 minutes, so I would like to request to all the presenters to stick on the time in order to allow space for interaction. Participants are welcome to post questions either in the chat or through the dedicated Q&A button that you can see on your screen, and of course we will address them during the discussion slots. It's now my pleasure to invite Dr. Angelos Amditis from ICCS to officially open the webinar. Dr. Amditis is ICCS Research and Development Director, and also he's member of the board, president of the member of the board of ERTICO. He's also a member of the board in other European and Greek organizations like ALICE and ITS-ELAS. And it's a pleasure to have him here and addressing this first welcome. Dr. Amditis, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dimitri. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Very good. Sorry for the setup, but I'm in Brussels in another mission, so I wasn't able for me to be in my office, but I hope everything will go well. So I just want to spend a few minutes welcoming you to this important webinar. I think this type of events are quite important, so we can really understand and see how all these different projects support each other, create synergies, and all together are able to move us forward common targets related to cultural heritage, especially when we combine that with all this situation that we are facing with climate that is continuously changing and affects many different things, one of them being exactly our cultural heritage. So later on there's going to be a full presentation on one of our projects of THETIDA. I would like just to give you some highlights as a kind of welcome. I think we have also together with us some representatives from the Commission and people from the projects, but also from different interesting groups. I would like to welcome you on this perspective. So, Dimitri, I don't know if we can have the slides.
Yes, of course. Just give me a minute.
Dimitri, I can share the slides if okay.
Thank you, Panos. Yes.
So as we are opening it up, I would like to highlight the importance of the EU Green Cluster, the cultural heritage. I think this is an important initiative through which we can really look at the different aspects and the different projects that the Commission is supporting and are working towards the same goal that we are all having. So discussing about THETIDA, just as a very fast introduction, THETIDA aims and its main aim, if you like, is to develop, test, and validate and integrate multiple underwater and coastal heritage risk assessment, but also a protection system which will be coupled with monitoring frameworks, innovative tools and instruments in order to provide a proactive approach to manage risk at cultural heritage sites. How we're going to achieve that? The main way to do that is by employing participatory processes and co-creation approaches by linking social innovation with cutting-edge technologies. I'm speaking about, for example, ICT tools, IoT, harmonized tools, and different technologies like this. To achieve that, THETIDA has a consortium of 17 partners. You can see in the slide the different partners coming from 8 different countries, EU and beyond, and it involves 7 different pilot sites. So you can see from the slide that we have 5 SMEs, we have 8 research institutes, but also very important 4 NGOs and public organizations. The whole project has a duration of 3.5 years. Hopefully will end its activities by October 2026 of this year. And it's supported by the Commission with almost 4 million euros. Next slide, please. So this is just a very fast introduction on the different pilot sites that THETIDA involves. Of course, Panos later will give you more details on the project itself. I would like to mention just that we are employing 7 pilot sites across the whole EU. 4 of them are underwater sites, and 3 are coastal sites in different European countries. What we're looking for in these sites is how the main climatic risks and natural hazards are threatening, if you like, affecting the different sites. Next one. So this is more or less the objectives of THETIDA. We are discussing here about how to safeguard and protect Europe's coastal and underwater cultural heritage from different climatic risks and natural hazards. And how we plan to do that, one of our objectives is to deploy cutting-edge monitoring technologies for addressing multi-hazard risk understanding and also enhance the preparedness of relevant end users and, of course, all related stakeholders. Through the project, we are developing actually test and demonstrate innovative and sustainable modeling tools, but also a decision support system that will all be used to protect both underwater and coastal cultural heritage from the different climate risks, from pollutants, and in this way providing efficient response in case we are facing emergencies. What is very important in THETIDA is that we employ a lot of citizen science and participatory living lab methodologies. And through these tools, we are engaging diverse groups of users, community groups, stakeholders, and end users in participatory and inclusive data acquisition. So, as I mentioned, we are going to test all these things. We are testing actually all these things in the different pilot sites. They're going to present it in more detail in the next presentation. And the reason for doing that in so many different pilot sites is that we really want to have a rapid uptake at market level. Next one, please. I would like to close again by mentioning the importance of this EU Green Cluster on cultural heritage, where also THETIDA, not only THETIDA, RescueME, TRIQUETRA, and STECCI are participating. And within this Green Climate Cluster, we have created what we call the Climate Effects Team, that all these projects are working with and supporting with an overarching aim to address the urgent needs to protect monuments, historical buildings, and sites from the diverse impacts of climatic risks, natural and anthropogenic hazards. So this whole thing here contributes to the whole conversation and the protection for the protection of Europe's heritage by exploiting cutting-edge remote monitoring technologies, modeling tools, and other components for multi-hazard risk understanding and better preparedness. I believe that the overall goal of the European Commission also is to support transdisciplinary joint efforts of researchers to develop sustainable preservation and adaptation plans and to bring community involvement and inclusiveness to the forefront of large collaborative research projects funded, also supported by the European Union. The long-term outcome, we all believe too, is to come up with the creation of a sustainable cultural heritage research ecosystem. THETIDA was proud to lead the cluster activities during 2023 and 2024, and of course the other projects are continuing supporting that. Last but not least, the activities that I mentioned have resulted already in the publication of a white paper that was published last December, focusing on safeguarding cultural heritage in a changing climate. And there we are discussing the perspective from the Green Cluster on cultural heritage. That's it from my side. I wish you all to have a very interesting webinar. I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of interesting things, and we are in your disposal. Discussion, questions, or follow-ups. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Amditis. Really valuable your welcoming. And now, with no other further ado, I would like to welcome the representative from the European Commission, Dr. Athanasios Gerakis. He's a project advisor at the European Research Executive Agency at the European Commission, Unit C1, Inclusive Society. Dr. Gerakis will provide us with a brief update, sharing some recent developments and policy-related insights that may be of particular interest to the project stakeholders and participants that are joining today. So, Dr. Gerakis, thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Kalimera, everyone. Kalimera, Dimitri. Thank you, Dr. Amditis, for your introduction.
Kalimera.
I'm really delighted to be here with you. Unfortunately, I will stay only at the beginning since we are at the process of grant agreement preparations, and I cannot stay with you. I have another meeting. But I would like to tell you that Dr. Amditis' excellent introduction was the perfect start for my intervention as well. First of all, I would like to thank you very much on behalf of REA, of the Research Executive Agency, for all your commitment, your motivation to work together as much as possible, find synergies, and we are very delighted to see happening this kind of cooperation and being materialized in events like the one that you have organized today. I have two key messages for you that I think must be of interest. First of all is that on the 26th of February, the first three projects that started the Green Cluster are organizing a final event here in Brussels, but also hybrid. The idea for Brussels was because two of the projects are based in nearby universities, so they have decided to organize it here in a big event place in the center of Brussels. The Green Cluster, these three projects are organizing an event called the Green Cluster and Conservation Research, and how strategic policy can also help advancing sustainability and heritage conservation. These three projects, just to remind you, are related to the development of new technologies and more sustainable technologies for the restoration and the preservation of objects of arts and monuments. So the aim of this event is to align the work of those projects with the current European policy and industry, highlighting opportunities for integration, implementation, and support for green innovation and technological development. If not yet received, you will receive an invitation very soon from the organizers. And I hope you will join us. It's a whole-day event, but the agenda is diverse, so you can choose. If you cannot join for one whole day, you can choose which discussion might be of interest for you. The other thing I would like to update you is that the call for the partnership, the co-fund partnership I was talking about in the past, has already closed last autumn. There is one application, one proposal submitted, has been now invited to prepare their grant agreement. It's now under preparation. This partnership, just to remind you, we hope to strengthen research on cultural heritage, to develop and promote activities, innovative solutions, assessment systems, and adaptation and mitigation strategies and risk management models for natural hazards, but also for climate change. And of course, the aim is always to transmit the cultural heritage to future generations. So in that sense, we hope that Europe will become more resilient and climate neutral also through the aspect of cultural heritage. Now, this has not been yet signed, but it is under grant agreement preparation, and I hope we will have soon some final results from this process. Events like yours today is an excellent example of how common collaboration and common efforts can create synergies, can create policy feedback that has also makes sense for the policymakers here in Brussels. I congratulate you for that, and I hope we will have soon another opportunity to meet together. This is all I wanted to convey today as from my side. If you have any questions, please let me know. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Really interesting updates, and we were saving the date, of course. And thank you, Miruna, for sharing on the chat the link for this amazing event. I think it's very interesting for all of us to attend. As Dr. Yerakis needs to leave, if you have any questions towards him, please you can either raise the questions through the Q&A session or type the question on chat, or even you can react by raising your hand, and I can grant you permission to open the microphone or the camera. So do you have any questions for Dr. Yerakis?
Okay.
Everything crystal clear. Yeah. Thank you once again, Dr. Yerakis. We are waiting for this event, and of course we will be in touch for the continuation of our projects. Thank you very much for your support so far.
Excellent. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you. And now let's proceed at the main course of today's webinar, starting from THETIDA. So the first presentation will be addressed by Dr. Panagiotis Michalis, my colleague in ICCS. Dr. Panagiotis Michalis is a senior project manager at ICCS, and he will focus on monitoring, assessment, and service-based approaches to managing climate risks for underwater and coastal cultural heritage. And in any case, we are thrilled to hear his insights about our project. So, Panos, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dimitri. I suppose that you see my full screen. So, as you see, the title of this presentation today is a continuation from the previous introductory presentation on THETIDA, is from monitoring to action. And I'm going to present you brief information about the services that are developed during the project activities to enhance mainly climate risk management in different heritage sites, mainly focusing on coastal and underwater heritage. But just a quick introduction about why climate risk matters for heritage. We've seen images like the one on the left-hand side is the Acropolis, covered with snow in 2021. So we see that we're facing shifting environmental conditions, which, based on research and the projections that we have, is expected to become worse in the coming years. We've seen unusual images like the Acropolis covered with snowstorm, but there are other types of heritage where degradation processes due to climatic risks are not well understood because, for example, they are underwater, like the image that we see on the right-hand side. So the main climatic pressures that heritage are facing is sea level rise, intense flooding, coastal erosion, permafrost thaw dynamics like a pilot that we have also in THETIDA, but also the change in environmental conditions happening below the water surface. And the heritage at risk is coastal monuments, underwater heritage sites, historic settlements, but also archaeological sites based on land. So heritage is highly exposed, immobile, and irreversible. So any potential loss is irreversible, and that's why climate risk matters for heritage. How we are addressing this in THETIDA, it's also the title of the presentation, is from deploying and developing monitoring systems and monitoring activities to arrive to informed decisions. So our approach is developing geospatial services based on remote sensing, ocean forecasting systems, but also climatological and geohazard maps, coupled with in situ services like a smart buoy, which is placed at an Ischia site in Cyprus. All underwater pilot sites have been equipped with both sensors for crowdsourcing sensing, wearable sensors, but also we have an autonomous underwater vehicle which provides critical information about degradation processes at underwater sites, and these are coupled with monitoring systems at coastal sites like the smart tags to measure micro cracks at heritage sites, micro weather stations to provide us with critical information about the ongoing climatic risks, but also through a car outsourcing mobile application that has been developed, we're able to retrieve information also from the general public. So all this information is being fed as inputs to the modeling part to derive predictions and to visualize these predictions by feeding back this information to the citizens through living labs to raise awareness, evaluation, but also the engagement of all the different stakeholders for resilient and climate neutral cultural heritage. I'm going to provide you with a snapshot of the different services that we have developed in THETIDA. We're talking about the geospatial services. We're going to start, and the land deformations. This is an example that has been derived by the THETIDA platform, which is currently under development. And we see the land deformations, mainly horizontal deformations in this occasion, settlements, but also we see in some occasions minor uplift movements, which could provide useful information about the risks to heritage sites posed by these land deformations. We're continuing about geospatial services, and is the erosion and inundation risks that we see on this side is in Svalbard in Norway. With the orange line, we see the coastal deformation and how this has changed over the years. And with the yellow highlighted areas, we see the inundation risk that exists in the location of Svalbard, which also provides useful information about what the future holds in terms of risks related to the heritage sites. This is accompanied with information about the erosion rate and different intersections in which we see, for example, significant erosion and specific intersections, which is approximately 2.4 meters per year. This site is also related to the permafrost thaw dynamics, which I also indicated as a risk in the second slide. One other geospatial service that we provide is the flood map. Our colleagues from the National Technical University of Athens have developed the FloodPy software, which allows to showcase the flood maps that we see here. This is an example from IJsselmeer pilot site, which is located in Netherlands, and we see the extent of floods as they have happened in the past, but also we're able to predict the extent of future floods in the area. Apart from that, we have developed a smart buoy, which has been applied at the Nisya site in Cyprus. Here we see some photographs from the application of the smart buoy at the heritage site. It is equipped with many different types of sensors, a weather station, an acoustic Doppler, which measure wave characteristics, but also current characteristics, and is able to provide with key information about these sea dynamics to researchers in order to understand what happens on the underwater shipwreck, which is located at the bottom of the smart buoy. And degradation processes mainly occurring due to the erosion patterns influenced by the wave dynamics, for example, but also the sedimentation processes that take place as part of these dynamics. Apart from that, in THETIDA, we have developed and applied to all underwater pilot sites new underwater sensing devices, which have a threefold purpose. They can be used as seabed devices, permanently placed at the bottom of the seabed to derive critical important information, which can serve as a baseline about temperature, conductivity, salinity, and other environmental parameters. Can be used as wearables by relevant communities. For example, we equip diving teams with this type of sensors and are placed as wearables on the diving vests, but also they can be used as boat sensors, mobilizing also relevant communities like fishers or divers to be used from the boats in order to obtain information some meters below the water surface. These devices are accompanied by a relevant mobile application which has been developed and is currently applied at the pilot sites in order to retrieve information from the devices, but also for the users to have a snapshot of the visualization of the parameters that they obtain from the devices. All these have been applied in our underwater pilot sites, as you can see in the images. So in the upper photos, we see the application of the underwater devices at the underwater shipwrecks by our team in INTT, but also the same diving teams, which are partners in our project, developed for the first time a 3D model of the shipwreck, which we see here, which provides very important baseline information and can be evaluated in future diving campaigns. We have also had diving campaigns at Nisya site in Cyprus by our partners, the University of Cyprus and CMMI. Here we see some photos from the diving campaigns using the hyperspectral camera, taken samples to detect the material deterioration from our colleagues from the University of Padova, but also testing the 3 types of sensors, as I mentioned before, the boat sensor, as we see here, the seabed sensor applied permanently at the bottom of the shipwreck, but also the one used as wearable by divers. And based on this information, we acquired last summer the first results. Here is an image from the THETIDA platform, which I mentioned that is currently under development. We see different environmental parameters. Here we see the temperature versus depth at a depth of 40 meters, which the site is placed. Apart from that, during THETIDA, we have the first application of hyperspectral camera, these underwater sites. Here there are the 2 results that we have obtained. And we see the degradation map on the Mysia shipwreck on the left-hand side, in which we see the material loss with the darker areas as we see here, but also the presence of ship worms with the reddish highlighted areas, mainly due to the fact that we're talking about a wooden shipwreck, so these are wooden elements that we see. On the right-hand side is the Equa shipwreck. It's an iron steel shipwreck, and these are the results that we obtained from the application of the hyperspectral camera, and we see parts of layers of secretions, mainly carbon iron, which is formed by chemical processes on the steel, and the deposition layer, mainly sand and cells with in the white highlighted areas. Apart from that, we have been focused, as I mentioned, to the development of a mobile application for citizen science and crowdsourcing. We have developed different campaigns, in total 6 campaigns, in all pilot sites, in which a user can receive information about the 3D models of the site, which in most of the occasions they have been developed as part of the project. But also the users of the mobile application can be involved in providing key information about some degradation processes that they might see on the site. So they have a reporting functionality which they're able to upload pictures accompanied by text, but also get to know about the history of the sites by participating in quizzes and other gamified information. On the bottom side, you see the QR codes. The application is available in both Android and iOS, so please feel free to download and test the device. All this arrived to a decision support service, which it's under development right now in THETIDA for specific hazard types. Here we see an example for a seismic hazard in targeting the Castle of Mykonos, one of the pilot sites. And here for a specific hazard event for a return period of 95 years, we see a prediction about the collapsed buildings that are potentially expected to happen in the area. And this is accompanied with other kind of information about the direct and indirect losses in different sectors, but also is accompanied by a socioeconomic model, which based on the downtime diagrams that we see in different sectors, with an impact analysis is being carried out to assess the vulnerability of the area. So going to the end of the presentation, it's the same title that we started. So in THETIDA, we have developed an integrated monitoring ecosystem across land, sea, but also involving the society in these processes to develop science-based services for climate risk management, with main aim to support heritage authorities, planners and communities of how to address climatic risks on heritage. Closing the presentation with an announcement about a special issue. So as stated, that we applied for a special issue in Elsevier Climate Risk Management Journal, which is a quality one journal. And this special issue has been accepted. The title is Climate Risk Management for Cultural Heritage, Advanced Methods, Technologies and Adaptive Strategies. The opening date for submissions will be on the 30th of April 2026, so in approximately 2 months from now. There will be information disseminated through our channel soon. So we invite all participating projects, but also researchers to your contributions in this special issue. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer your questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Panos. And let's go to our next speaker. Our next speaker represents the TRIQUETRA project, which develops or have developed advanced risk assessment tools addressing climate and multi-hazard impacts on cultural heritage sites. So, with a pleasure, I'm welcoming Dr. Denis Sistrati from the School of Civil Engineering at the National Technical University of Athens, the Lichtweiss Institute for Hydraulic Engineering and Water Resources at TU Braunschweig, and the Department of Civil and Architectural Engineering at Aarhus University, a lot of affiliations. So, Dr. Sistrati, we are waiting for your presentation entitled The TRIQUETRA Risk Module, a Digital Toolbox for Climate and Multi-Hazard Risk Assessment on Cultural Heritage Sites. Dr. Sistrati, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes, Dennis, we can.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Dimitris. So again, thank you for inviting me. It is a pleasure to be here and actually represent the TRIQUETRA project. As you already know from our past activities, sorry for some reason. Okay, from our past activities, TRIQUETRA is one of the, let's say, sister project funded together with THETIDA, RescueME, and STECCI. Has 21 partners. I mean, this slide actually, I remember we used it in the first green cluster meeting we had, so I wanted to just to close the loop to put it again here, because back then we're saying we are aiming to address, and so now we're actually addressing these challenges. Today I'll be mainly focusing on one of our products. We have a couple of them, as they will be released soon by March, I expect, in an open public report. But today we'll be focusing mainly on the risk module, which and not that much on the sensors that our partners are, let's say, have developed. Our decision support platform basically has 4 components. Has the risk severity module. It has a mitigation measure which has been developed by our colleagues from GSH. Has a knowledge-based platform, and also a digital twin viewer, which actually connects as well to real-time sensors. So when we, let's say, imagine first time this project, and we're talking to the pilot site leaders and to the stakeholders and archaeologists, one of the problems that was there is that we did not, although we knew that climate change is happening, natural hazards are also on the rise, there was no actual quantification of most of these hazards. And so there was not specific magnitude, which is essentially if you want to make decisions, and decide conservation strategies. So we definitely, one of the aim here was to actually be able to predict the probability of occurrence of these hazards. But then the next step was also to be able to assess in advance what is basically the probability of causing harm to these structures. And so basically going to the impact. And that impact, they had 2 components. Of course, we wanted to know what happens at the site level, because when you're a Ministry of Culture, you have hundreds of sites to evaluate and assess. You need to have a very quick methodology. But on the other side, if you're the engineer that is responsible for a particular site, you also want to go to the level of detail of particular structural components. So we had to cover both of these aspects. Also, another thing is that it was very highlighted to us that we had to look at gradual environmental stressors, let's say changes in temperature, sea level rise, etc., but also sudden events like flash floods, storm surge, earthquakes and tsunamis, which is very little information. So anyway, we implemented this approach on 8 pilot sites. These 8 pilot sites covered, I would say, at least 3 different typologies, which were coastal sites and underwater together, I would say, in Greece and Italy. Then sites that were in lakes, like in Switzerland, Poland, Germany, and then also mountainous areas like in Cyprus and Greece as well. And so we need a common framework to address all these hazard. So as I said, here is a summary of the hazard in the pilot sites that we had, the 8 pilot sites, and the range of hazards from seismic floods, geotechnical subsidence, weather events, freezing, heat waves, sea waves, etc. And so here I'm just going to show today a couple of examples, and then how a user can go and really take advantage of this. So the first thing that we have implemented is that there's a first level screening. You can go inside the platform, and depending on the area of interest, it will tell you from the beginning which are the most vulnerable areas very quickly. Then, because we wanted to know more, what happens, here you see a site, the archaeological site, one of the ones we had in Egina, which is this small red thing, and there the stakeholder, the relevant stakeholder, want to know, how important is the flood risk, and so at the end of the day, we had to, and when I'm talking about the level of the specific pilot site, this structure are a couple of centimeters, and so we ended up developing models, and this is available where we analyze the whole flood risk for the whole island, and then we coupled it with very high fidelity models, as you see per structure. So now the stakeholder could really go and see, okay, part of these structures, which one is more vulnerable, which one is going to be inundated. But then that's also not enough, because what they also want to know next is how much of that is going to be damaged, how are they going to be deteriorating. And so then having this input and having, let's say, a multidisciplinary approach, you can look at the deterioration of materials and then develop this practical information, so then decision makers can go and say, hey, this is the most vulnerable one. I expect that if an event happens and my structure gets inundated for half a day, I'm going to deteriorate the material by 20 or 30%, So this is practical information that the decision makers need. So not just estimating the hazard, but really looking at its impact. Another example here is for sites in lakes. This is in Poland, for example, and we had sites that were very close to the Krzewo Lake, and this site, you cannot see it, but it's actually inside the soil. So every time there's a flooding effect, there is fluctuations of the lake, and so the main hazard here was actually the flood itself, but also the change of the water level in the lake, how it inundates and how it affects. So now with our colleagues from Poland, we were able to develop risk maps for floods for this infrastructure close to lakes. And another very big hazard was the coastal risks. And one of the things is, as you all know, Copernicus and the European Union has done a lot of work on that. So now we can find maps and prediction from the climate science community and the oceanographic community that will tell you, hey, close in this region, we have a probability of this wave to happen, and with these characteristics. Well, the problem with that is that most of the data is at 5 kilometer resolution or even 10 kilometer resolution. So if you want to look at a specific area where the scale of an archaeologist or a climate or a cultural heritage expert is about, let's say this site is not more than 1 kilometer, I would say 1 by 1, then the closest point you're going to get wave condition is 5-10 kilometers from here. So now you don't have the right data that you need in terms of hazard. So what you need, you also need high fidelity models to go get this hazard from Copernicus, go from offshore, and then being able to propagate this hazard, these waves, close to the shore. And at the end, you can find which part of the site is more vulnerable to erosion, and under different probabilistic scenarios. And so this was one site in Greece. Another site, a coastal site, which was very interesting in Italy, is that there are many sites, and for example, I know Madeira has such issues, and some other islands where your cultural heritage is on top of a cliff. So now, due to the intense activity of the waves, this cliff is becoming unstable, and then half, you cannot see it here, but half of the cultural heritage has gone down. So that's something we have looked into as well, and with very high fidelity models, which then has been translated into practical information, results that are directly being given to the stakeholders. Now, another important area, especially in the Mediterranean, are seismic risks. So here you see another example of particular structures. Here we developed what we call finite element models. We worked with geologists where they assessed the risk and how, in terms of shaking in that area, according to European guidelines, how it will propagate to our site. And then based on that, we also moved to the next step, which is develop very high fidelity models and assess the impact on particular structural components. And what is very interesting is that depending on the hazard you have, different parts of your same site will be most vulnerable. So in the case of an earthquake, the columns are the most vulnerable here, as you can see. But earlier, when you saw the inland floods, it was totally different, different part of structure that basically were accumulating more water. So the question that arises from this type of work that we've done in TRIQUETRA is, at the end of the day, how do you decide which hazard is more important? So which basically gets us back to the question is that we really need this high fidelity quantification of the risks to get confidence in decision making. Something that we rarely find in the literature is tsunamis. So luckily there is a past project at the European level which that was funded about maybe 6-7 years ago, and what they did, they went and estimated the probability of tsunamis to happen in the Mediterranean. But again, to give an example, the closest point was 11 kilometers from it's just in the oceans. It's not close to our sites that are actually the ones that are exposed. And so again, here we developed multi-scale, multi-fidelity models where we propagated the hazard, we modeled the interaction with the bathymetry as the wave propagates onshore, and at the end of the day, we were able to find the inundation extent and the different scenarios. You see here of all areas, and then went to the next step again, and which this one is a scale of kilometers, correct? But then we zoomed in and we looked at the areas of interest and structures that the stakeholders wanted, which is in the range of centimeters. And so we were able to say with confidence, hey, this part under this tsunami scenario, this part of your structure is going to be damaged. So you go and take action, go and protect that particular structure. And that goes from the level of the structure, but then goes to the level of the site as well. So these were just some examples of, let's say, the extreme hazards. We also show I'll skip very quickly here that how you combine gradual events with extreme events as well. So we analyze different SSP scenarios which are available, let's say, from Copernicus, and then combined it with the extreme waves. So now we could see under sea level scenarios of 0.5, 1 meter, etc., how much the exposure vulnerability and the risk of instability changes. Also, another very interesting multi-hazard event is what happens when you have an earthquake and then a tsunami. Hopefully, this does not happen very often in the Med Sea, but something that did not exist until now, it is available in the TRIQUETRA platform. So these are just some examples. So I'll close my presentation by showing you this video, how someone can access. The platform is publicly available. This is just an example. The user can go and select the hazards, the location, the site of interest, and then it pops up, it shows you the results. And we have provided also documentation, what are the methodology behind it, because the idea here is also to allow users to extend this platform in the future. So there is also a functionality giving you references that you can upload your own results. So with that, I would like to acknowledge my colleagues from NTUA and the whole TRIQUETRA consortium, and I would like to thank you for attending this presentation. Thank you.
Yes, for your insights. And of course, we already have some questions, but we will address them all by the end of all the presentations. We're now turning on to the STECCI project, which addresses climate stress on stone heritage through a transdisciplinary scientific approach linking climate science, geosciences, and conservation practice. And I'm pleased to introduce Professor Dr. Nusret Dreskovic from the University of Sarajevo, Faculty of Science. Professor Dreskovic will present climate stress on stone heritage, translating STECCI transdisciplinary science. Yeah, sorry for that, into conservation action. Professor Dreskovic, please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, colleague Dimitris. Hello, everyone. Today, I will present how STECCI translates climate stress on stone heritage into practical conservation action, using medieval STECCI tombstone as a unique intercultural heritage case, and I will briefly walk you through our key outputs and toolkits. On this slide, you can see 9 project partners institutions from 8 European countries which participate in the STECCI project. STECCI is structured around complementary work packages. Work package 2 integrates climate and air pollution data and produces climate scenarios and a digital climate atlas. Work package 3 focuses on condition assessment, sensor analysis, and in situ conservation, and finally the preservation guidelines. Work package 4 delivers 3D digitization and an educational game. Work package 5 develops social innovation labs and a methodology handbook. And work package 6 collects economic inputs and supports valorization for a sustainable STECCI tourism strategy. In year 1, we established the baseline. We collected climate and air pollution data, supported landscaping where needed, carried out initial condition assessments, installed sensors, started digital acquisitions, and began collecting economic inputs. This created harmonized foundations across project sites. In year 2, we moved strongly into delivery. Climate vulnerability assessment, conservation assessment, policy brief 1, summer academy 1, further digital acquisitions, and interim report, in situ conservation, game development, survey on cultural heritage valorization, the first STECCI conference, the Voice in Stone promo video, workshops, and continued climate scenario modeling. On this slide introduces our key outputs. Think of these as ready-to-use results, data sets and scenarios, monitoring and assessment products, conservation pilots, 3D documentations, community engagement methodologies, and economic valuation inputs packaged for uptake by different user groups. As for key results, such as the preservation guidelines, toolkits, datasets, templates, and training materials, we distribute them through 2 complementary platforms. First, on left side of this slide, the STECCI platform project server serves as an internal and external working and delivery space for project partners and stakeholders, structured according to our activities and deliverables. Second, we use open science repositories, primarily the Zenodo STECCI community, to publish open citable packages with Adobe. In practice, the project server enables efficient workflow and coordination, while Zenodo guarantees durability, citability, and broad reuse beyond the consortium. Now we move to work package 2 and the climate change scenario modeling. On this slide, we present the moderate climate scenario for selected state sites, comparing SSP 4.5 and RCP 4.5. In both cases, the mean air temperature increases, while the number of frost days decreases, which suggests a shift in freeze to exposure. At the same time, precipitation indicators show a more complex signal, although total precipitation tends to decline, while the maximum one-day precipitation is projected to increase, indicating a higher likelihood of short but intense rainfall events. For stone heritage, this combination matters because it can change the balance between weathering process, less frequent freezing, but potentially more wetting events, moisture fluctuations, runoff, and salt mobilization. This scenario outputs provide an evidence base for work package 3, where we translate exposure trends into site-specific preventive measures and conservation planning. On this slide, we present the high-end climate pathway, SSP 5, 8.5 and RCP 8.5, which we use as a stress test for selected STECCI sites. Compared to the moderate pathway, we see a pronounced increase in mean air temperature across the century, accompanied by a clear decrease in frost days, which indicates a major shift in freeze-to exposure and winter conditions. At the same time, precipitation indicators point to increased variability. Even where total precipitation changes only moderately or declines, the maximum of one-day precipitation tends to increase, suggesting more frequent short but very intense rainfall events. For limestone tombstones, this combination can amplify wetting drying cycles, runoff and water penetration, salt mobilization, and faster surface alteration, especially when combined with air pollution and biological growth. These outputs are essential inputs for conservation measures in work package 3. On this slide, we compare two dose response function approaches, QUETRA and Liffert, to estimate limestone dissolution rates across selected STECCI sites expressed in micrometers per year. Across the STECCI sites, both models agree on the main message. Dissolution rates differ considerably by location because air quality interacts with precipitation. Where pollution is high, assessed by QUETRA model, chemical aggressiveness increases. Where precipitation is high, assessed by Liffert model, the solution can accelerate even under relatively cleaner air. Using both models side by side help us bracket uncertainty and supports a more robust exposure ranking for conservation planning. On this slide, we highlight the link between climate conditions and biological deterioration of STECCI tombstones. Our field survey showed that biological polarization is strongly influenced by microclimatic conditions. The key message is that biodeterioration is not a purely biological issue. It's also a climate-sensitive process. Now, I will switch from findings to implementation, how we package our work into toolboxes, what we use, and toolkits, what we deliver. In work package 2, how you can see, our toolbox includes GIS databases and workflows for spatio-temporal mapping, Earth observation tools, and risk algorithm calculators such as STECCI DRA-based approaches, linking climate and air pollution to deterioration processes. Work package toolkits include the STECCI Climate Digital Atlas for visualization, standardized metadata catalog, entries and shareable dataset packages on the node when possible, scientific toolkits for downscale scenarios and climate characterization, and communication toolkits like policy brief templates and training materials for interpreting scenario outputs. The primary goal of work package 3 is to provide a solid basis for long-term preservation strategies and conservation measures for cultural assets made on compact limestones by linking current exposure conditions with changing climatic drivers identified in work package 2 across 8 European countries. Work package 3 then converts observations into action. The toolbox covers standardized surveys and decay mapping, diagnostic and microclimate monitoring, and compatibility-based interventions, including pilot treatments. The toolkits include a conservation protocol pack, treatment selection matrix, preservation glossary also, and the preservation guidelines for compact limestone assets. In work package 4, we are developing low-cost digitization methods, smartphone or tablet LiDAR capture, NERF-based reconstruction, and mobile photogrammetry workflows. The aim is scalable documentation that can be repeated over time. Work package 4's toolbox covers acquisitions, post-processing, and data management standards. Toolkits are delivered as 3D site model packs and other reusable delivery bundle with standardized folders, formats, and metadata sheets for platform upload. Work package 5 brings a people-centered approach. Our toolbox includes co-creation methods, stakeholder ecosystem mapping, and community-based research protocols, plus capacity building and peer learning formats. Toolkits include community strategy packs, training modules, a sustainable tourism toolkit, and a replication guide for other remote heritage sites. Work package 6 is focused on economic sustainability. We are collecting economic inputs and conducting valorization analysis to support a sustainable STECCI tourism strategy. The toolbox includes scenario-based damage costing, benefits evaluation, and timing models for interventions. Toolkits provide impact assessment templates, CBR guides, prioritization tools, and policy-ready summaries. This was a summary of these main activities in the STECCI project, and certainly thank you for your attention. Inside 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, Professor Draskovic. It was very interesting. Let's proceed now to RescueME, last but not least, and to a slightly different and more interactive format, as today's webinar also hosts the next RescueME community conversation. RescueME focuses on decision support systems for climate adaptation, disaster risk management, and cultural landscape resilience. So I'm very pleased to welcome both Aichiber Eguizquiza, senior researcher at Tecnalia, and Asel Villanueva, researcher at the same organization, Tecnalia. And let me give the floor first, if I'm not mistaken, to Aich. Is that you? And then we'll have the presentation from Asel. So Aich, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, first is going to be me giving an overview of the RescueME project, and after is going to be my colleague Asel giving more details about one of our tools, the ESDS, our decision support system. Can you please confirm that you are seeing my
we
screen?
can.
Perfect. So as you said before, this is part of our community conversation, some series of conversation that we are having with the stakeholders in order to show and discuss with them our results. And we are very grateful that today we can join to the THETIDA webinar series. So what is RescueME? RescueME is, we are 17 partners, with 5 of them are case studies that we call in our contest Lives, Resilience Live. We start in 2023 and we are going to finish in the summer of this year, and with a total of 42 months. Here are the partners that we are very proud to work with. And what is our main objective? We want to take a data-driven, a community-based, and heritage-centric, actionable landscape approach to resilience enhancement of cultural landscapes. As you can see here below, RescueME, this actionable, heritage-centric, data-driven, community-based, is in the center of a lot of concepts that are very ingrained in cultural landscapes and specifically in coastal cultural landscape, because that is our main work, the cultural landscapes, and our understanding of cultural landscape is landscapes whose character is the result of the historic action and interaction of natural and human factors with important cultural significance for the communities. It doesn't have to be official cultural heritage, it doesn't have to be UNESCO site, it's just something that is important for the communities and that we think that they possess intrinsic resilience. So this is our methodical approach, quite simplified. We have 3 pillars approach that combines a top-down analysis of European level and also a bottom-up knowledge co-production with local communities. As I said before, we are based on a data-driven foundation that interlinks with existing platforms and interplays with the community approach. We have 5 air labs, resilience lab, that, as you can see, they are quite expressed from Europe. We have Chirolitis in Crete, the island of Neuwerk in Hamburg, Germany, Porto Venere, Cinque Terre, and the island of Italy, La Horta de Valencia in Spain, and also the defensive system of Sadar in Croatia. They are very different in size, as you can see here, but also in the type of landscape from urban, rural, island, mountains, and also the hazard and threats that they suffer. We stated from the beginning 7 specific objectives that were derived for identifying gaps. This project comes from the work before from several other projects as Shelter and ARC, and working in this project we identified some gaps that we wanted to address with this project. And so these 7 objectives are building the frame, triggering action, mobilizing resources, facilitating decision-making and implementation, knowledge co-production, monitoring and managing, and also transferring and scale up. What we understand for building the frame, we understand working a lot of years in cultural heritage and also climate change, that there was lack of holistic approach with an operating vision, and that this holistic approach needed to include heritage diversity. For that, we tried to create a replicable RescueME framework based on the resilient historic landscape concept. We wanted to bring together social, ecological, and cultural aspects using a complex system and landscape approach. We wanted also to adapt some standard to cultural landscape, use a data-driven approach supported by geospatial data platform, and also apply new technologies to collect information and link into assessment indicators. So we started with this actionable resilient historic landscape framework that was delivered in the very beginning of the project because we needed this to guide the rest of the project development. We understand the cultural landscapes as socio-ecological technical system, and we base everything in the concept of the 5 capitals, community capitals: natural, built, social, human, and financial. Maybe you missed the 6th one, that is the cultural capital, but we understand that this capital was intrinsic to in cultural landscapes in all the other capitals. We set key measurements objectives: sensitive, coping capacity, adaptive capacity, and transformative capacity. And with that, we think we provide a solid conceptual and methodological basis, but also we were quite flexible enough to be applied in all their landscapes that, as you can see, were quite different. We also built the landscape multi-domain geospatial data intelligence platform. It has been clear during all the presentation that spatial information is key for all the assessment. So far, we have 184 datasets in total at the European level, but also at local level. We have built a data lake to feed this multi-domain geospatial platform. And we have also real-time meteorological data and weather forecast. This work is still ongoing. We are going to have finished it in the end of the project. The second objective was to trigger action. I think it's not going to say nothing new to all of you, saying that resilience in a lot of cases is not perceived as a priority. And one of the reasons that we think is that there is a lack of available or actionable evidence regarding the direct and indirect benefit of cultural heritage and cultural landscape, but also how is the impact of climate change in these benefits. I think all of our projects are trying to quantify this, and I think it's important in order to trigger policies. For that, we built a multi-scale method to make cultural landscape and heritage value visible and measurable. We wanted to also quantify the soft benefit, the well-being, cohesion, identity, tourism, economic, carbon, and we wanted to use data sources at EU level. So we applied to 2 scales. One was the EU scale for awareness, prioritization, and policy. That was the European scale, but also the cultural landscape level for local action maps and impact chain co-definition. So one of our first results that was delivered, I think, in the first year of the project is this Atlas of Coastal Landscapes and Climate Change Impact. You can find it in our webpage if you want to check it. And it's a semi-quantitative analysis of 513 coastal NUTS-free regions at Europe, considering climate change scenarios for different hazards like drought, headwinds, landslide, I think 6 in total, I would say. But also we have made clustering of regions with similar or distinct characteristics within the 5 capitals across Europe. We have a specialized indicator for each hazard type, and also, as I said before, we have a web page, a web tool, better, where we can visualize the indicators and indexes in the Web Atlas. I really invite you to check it. That will be our top-down approach. Together with this, we make a policy report on this with the result that we have found working in this atlas, typology of coastal region, analysis of the risk component with the different risk element profiles of the 25 most endangered regions in Europe, an overview of losses and potential impacts, and 4 replicable governance typologies also. And we have the focus in 6 regions that we have identified with the recommendation: Southern Italy, Portugal, Greece, Denmark, regions with qualification needs, and regions with focus on tourism. That is also in our webpage if you want to check it. And with the bottom-up approach, what we did was to identify or to co-create 10 coastal heritage landscape impact chains together with the community. That has been a really valuable reflection tool for the whole project. The third one was the need to mobilize resources, because we feel that was a lack of engagement on community and private sector that could mobilize human and economic resources. For that, we think that we need ready-to-use engagement and financing tools, and to set up local task forces and stakeholder ecosystem with clear roles and responsibilities. We find 88 solutions from the creative industry strategic domain, and also 113 solutions for the financing and business modeling strategy domain. From financing, we build these fact sheets that you can see also, and our colleagues also make a very interesting paper that also you can find it in the Cities Journal. We built an IS-based model, a tool for awareness to analyze land dynamic, manages, processes, and policies, specifically for our agricultural parcel abandonment. We built and crowdsourcing solution for co-characterization of landscape value, but the most important thing that we build this local task force resilience ecosystem of stakeholders that has been with us during all the project. The fourth objective was facilitating evidence-based decision-making and implementation. That was for our perception that there was a lack of ready-to-use tools and methods that could enable local communities and managers to downscale data for the complexity of local landscape. For that, we have 2 special results. One is the meta repository of solutions, with solution identified in previous projects like R, Shelter, Ruritage, Rescue, and Click, but also new solution, and the incremental spatial decision support system that is linked with this meta repository. We have collected more than 1,000 solutions and characterized them with 3 typologies: policy and recommendation, lesson learned and place-based solution, and also find solution domains. heritage-based solution, nature-based solution, adaptive governance tools, financing and business model strategies, and creative industry solution. And you have linked this to our incremental spatial decision support system that could, with which you can build baseline, prioritization, pathways, and monitorization. But this is what after is going to explain us my colleague Asel. The fifth one was the need for knowledge co-production, because there is still a linear top-down approach to producing knowledge and solution. And sometimes end user only receive results instead of collaborating with synthesis, policymaker, and society. I think the project that we are seeing today are an exception for that. So for co-production local knowledge, we have several tools. One of them were Serious Game that you can see here. We try to bring together local stakeholders in order to create a resilience action plan and raise awareness for resilience buildings. But also we create together landscape pathways, impact chains, and resilience strategies. The second one will be coming from the lack of inclusive strategy to monitor, manage, and jointly monitor the context change strategic effectiveness. For that, we develop an indicator-based monitoring strategy linked to the resilience pathways that is linked to the EADS that after Asel is going to explain to us. We have several tools for that. The monitoring is focused on the dynamic adaptive policy pathways. We have collected also 79 adaptive governance tools. We have built a chatbot module that works for cross-ocean solution for monitoring, and also a social media analysis that has analyzed over 5,000 social media posts and 60,000 relevant pieces of information. And the last one, it will be the transferring on a scale up, how we transfer this and make it more available for other regions in Europe. For that is the community of practice that I already told you about, that we are trying to share our results, but we are building also a one-step shop that is going to be the entry point for all the tools that we are building. So here is in the upper part of the pyramid, the one-stop shop that is going to try to, as I said before, give a narrative to all the tools that we have built that goes from data sources, data elaboration, data interaction, and data narration. But also we want to give a methodological context to all the tools for improving the resilience of cultural landscape. What, where, when, how to improve this resilience. Identifying and prioritizing risk, deciding the strategy, implementing the strategy, and also monitoring the strategy. For that, we have a lot of tools. I'm not going to because I think I'm in my time. But as you can see, this incremental spatial decision support system that now Asel is going to tell us is the middle of this strategy, and it's going to or tries to help or give tools to stakeholders to improve the resilience of the cultural landscape, using all the tools that we are trying to build in this project. And I think with this, I finish my presentation and I give the floor to Asel.
Thank you, Etxeber. Yeah, we are having some question about to access the meta repository. Maybe after the webinar we can talk about it. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I will be presenting the ESDSS. Thank you, Etxeber, for giving us the context of the project. You can be expecting a more technical presentation now, just to explain this result, the ESDSS. That is one of the results of the RescueME project, and we are going to be having a live demo of the tool, just to understand the way of working. So first of all, what is a ESDSS? No, and concretely the RescueME ESDSS. So first of all, it's a DSS. This means a decision support system. This means that is a tool assisted by the computer that helps the user to find something. In this case, solutions, because we found that in this project we have more than 1,000 solutions, and it was hard to find the proper one for the users. So we create this tool that we think that is user friendly. We are still working on this purpose, and also works with different risk and is an scalable application. What means the first is of the ESDSS is the spatial. This means that we are working with geospatial information that is integrated inside the tool and also connected with the tool. And the first one, incremental, means that in the future, a new risk for the pilots or new pilots could be added to the tool. No, the architecture is prepared for this purpose. So, what makes this tool unique? What is the special from this tool? First of all, that we have 1,000 solutions, so we make a very great effort categorizing those solutions. We create what we call solutions group, that we have 100 more or less solutions group that make easier to understand and to find the solutions inside the tool. The tool make a personalized recommendation. It takes into account the selected area, the risk type, the local context, and the rest of the information from the project to give us the best solutions. It has an implementation guidance. So once we select or once we find the solution that we want to implement in our project, the tool itself creates 3 different pathways that we are going to be talking about then later on. And you can follow those implementations. And finally, we have a monitoring. We can tell the tool if we already implement or we have any problem implementing the solutions and check what is the cost or the efficiency implemented at the moment. Just some technical information about the tool. It has a 3D viewer with session integrated inside the tool. It has a solution database that is totally accessible via REST API, via backend, or via the meta repository. So you can check any of those solutions. We have multiple criteria to propose the solutions. We have a monitoring dashboard to understand how the solutions are implemented over the time. And we have a pathway generator to propose the user different ways of implementing the solutions. Just some steps of the tool. I'm going to be fast because we are going to be having a demo of the tool. But first you select your context, you select your area, your pilot zone, and then the tool offers you some information calculated on the project and also the baseline assessment, no? Some graph comparing your area with the pilot or with the RescueME project or even other pilots. Then we move to select the solutions group. This could be filtered. You can check the information about those solutions group, and you can select one or multiple solutions group. Then the solutions group are compared, and we create a report that can be downloaded via PDF. Later on, those solutions group are used to filter the solutions repository, having less solutions because 1,000 solutions, was too much for the user. So we filter the solutions taking into account the multiple solutions group selected, and also, with the solutions selected by the user, we create three pathways that we are going to see now. And finally, we can monitor the implementation of those solutions. These are 3 examples of those pathways, and we work in 3 ways. The first one, the order selected by the user. We create the solutions in the same order that the user has selected in the pathway, and over the time, taking into account the duration of the solutions, the implementation time. The second one, the efficiency prioritized. So we have into account the efficiency cost or efficiency duration ratios to prioritize the solutions, the order of the solutions over the time. And finally, one of the things that allows the pathways is to have multiple solutions in the same time, or even not to implement all of them, but to go by one way or the other way. For example, in the pathway that we are seeing, we can go only with solution 1, 2, and 4 and jump the 3, or 1, 3, and 4. And finally, the monitoring dashboard, just to the user coming for which solutions have been implemented in the real time, let's say, and taking into account that the tool can give you some feedback about the implemented solutions. Okay, Well, there is a video, but I think that we are going to make the live demo, and after that, maybe you prefer you will have the video about the tool. So let me move to the EDSS. It's the same page as Aichiver shared in her presentation. The part of the atlas is open. That is one of the questions. The atlas is open, but it's true that the ESDSS and the meta repository requires a login. So for the moment, I think that it will be closed, at least between the duration of the project. But maybe in the future, the meta repository could be somehow, I don't know if public or at least require login, but maybe the ESDSS will be harder because it has some sensitive data about the pilots. Okay, so first of all, it requires this login. In this case, I'm going to log in with one of the pilots, and I will be moving to the ESDSS. Here, we have just the same steps that I have explained it to the user, so we can jump this one. Here, we have the different pilots in the project. We can take this is the part of the incremental where you can add new inputs, but now we are going to work with one existing pilot, for example, Valencia and floods. So when I select one pilot and one risk, the tool itself loads the map with the calculated risk in the project, and also a table with the hazard, exposure, vulnerability, some of the index and indicators calculated in the project. We can work in two ways. We can select the area here in this table, but we can also select in the map. If I click in the map, it's auto-selected in the table, and we have some additional information calculated in the project. So we can move to the next step. This one is the baseline. We have selected Alboraya, and we can compare the Alboraya with the RescueME average, with Valencia pilot, or with one of the other pilots. No? And we select some of the indicators calculated on the project. In our next step, this is the solution group. There are 113 solutions group. They could be filtered if we want, but in this case, we are going to select just for the demo the first three and move to the next. No? Here is the comparison between the solutions group to understand which capital affects each and with which efficiency, the cost range analysis or the hazard coverage, some information about these solutions group that we have create and categorize the solutions on them. And also we can export or download the PDF. Later on, the solutions appear just the tool just load the solutions filtered by the solutions group selected, maintaining the color to understand which group are each of the solutions. For example, we are going to select the first 5, and we are going to say, okay, I want to implement this into my project. No, so the tool generates dynamically these 3 pathways. The first one in the order I have select the solutions. In the second one, cost efficiency, and the third one, simultaneous pathway. No, and we have here well, in this case there are 4 pathways because the pathway itself should be going up and down and going down and up, but there are 2 different pathways. This one, and here we have the pathways create and the cost and the effectiveness of each of the pathways. And finally, we can select which pathway we are going to be implemented. For example, I will select this one, and I can say to the tool which of my solutions are already implemented, which are in progress, and have some feedback about the tool. So this is the presentation, and well, I think that the questions are at the end. So I thank you for attendance.
Thank you very much, Asel. Indeed, it was very good, your presentation, and I hope that it will raise questions and eventually conversation. So let us proceed now to the last presentation of today's webinar. And by saying that, I would like to thank a lot all the colleagues that have collaborated throughout the course of the 3 last years, from THETIDA, TRIQUETRA, STECCI, and of course from RescueME. Now the green cluster perspective will be presented by my colleague Anastasia Anastasiou from Geosystem Hellas and the TRIQUETRA project. And the title of this presentation will be Green Cluster on Cultural Heritage, Joint Achievement and Highlights. So let us see what we have achieved so far in a collaborative and voluntary basis. Anastasia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dimitris. Hello from me as well. Let me share my screen first. Can you see it?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. So, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you also to the THETIDA team for organizing this webinar and for including us, even though TRIQUETRA has concluded its run. My name is Anastasia Anastasiou. I am here from Geosystems Hellas representing the TRIQUETRA project, and I will try to be as brief as possible because we've been here for quite some time, presenting you the Green Cluster on Cultural Heritage and giving you a perspective on our joint achievements and highlights from the past 3 years. So first, a quick look back at the creation of the Green Cluster. Since 2021, 3 calls for proposals have invited research teams to respond to 3 topics. First, the demands for more sustainable methods and technologies to restore monuments and works of art, the impact of climate change and natural hazards on cultural heritage, and the advanced technologies for remote monitoring in the field. The projects that have been selected for the EU funding since have been encouraged to form the Green Cluster on Cultural Heritage. The Green Cluster on Cultural Heritage and its Climate Effects team is a collaborative initiative linking EU-funded projects under the topic Effects of Climate Change and Natural Hazards on Cultural Heritage and Remediation. And it includes 4 projects, the TRIQUETRA, THETIDA, RescueME, and STECCI projects. And it has been established in early 2023 as a means to address the urgent need to protect monuments, historic buildings and sites from the diverse impacts of climate risks and natural and anthropogenic hazards. Some of our joint actions include first of all, the kickoff of the Green Cluster meeting, which first established the collaboration formalization, and it was held in the Byzantine Museum of Athens, Greece, both in situ and online with guest presentations from previous Green Cluster projects. Next, we moved to the first EGU joint session that was organized and led by THETIDA in the EGU convention of 2024 in Vienna, Austria. Our joint session was titled Heritage Exposed to Climatic and Natural Hazards, Identification, Quantification, and Mitigation of Evolving Risks. Common dissemination actions took place among all projects in an attempt to attract as many presenters and audience as possible. And we also created an e-booklet for the abstracts that participated in our session. At the same time, during the EGE 2024, the second Green Cluster meeting took place, as well as a round table. And then we moved to the European Urban Resilience Forum that took place in June 2024 with RescueME and THETIDA participating. Next, the third Green Cluster meeting took place in January 2024. Yes, in 2025, sorry, during the 4th plenary of TRIQUETRA, which was held in Thessaloniki, and the Green Cluster meeting was held in a hybrid form. We moved to the organization of another joint session during EGE EGE 2025, this time led by TRIQUETRA, entitled Climate Change and Cultural Heritage, Identifying Impacts and Implementing Preservation Strategies. For this session, the projects also collaborated for the dissemination, both of the session and the roundtable that took place afterwards. And we also created an e-booklet containing the abstracts of the session. At the same time, in the same spirit as EGE 2024, the fourth Green Cluster meeting and roundtable took place, where we shared the project achievements so far. All that led to the major written output of the Green Cluster, which has been the white paper that was published in December 2025. It has been an attempt to give the perspective of the Green Cluster on cultural heritage and some core insights such as the technology integration, the societal engagement, the sustainability of outcomes, as well as policy positioning, both on a European and a national level. Regarding our upcoming actions, we have the next EGU joint session, which is headlined by RescueME, in the EGU 2026, which will be held again in Vienna in April. It is entitled Bridging Disciplines for Resilient Heritage, Risk, Co-Creation, and Digital Innovation. The projects have already started their common dissemination actions for disseminating the event and the session. And also we have leveraged the Horizon booster services that are available to us, such as Service 1.1, which has been completed, Service 3.2, which is currently ongoing, and we are also in talks for the implementation of Service 3.5. Some upcoming steps. As I also already mentioned, we will keep leveraging the Horizon booster services. We will keep amplifying our dissemination actions regarding EGU and other upcoming actions. And there are also discussions for a potential joint event during the EURESFA 2026. Thank you for your attention.
Anastasia, and now we conclude all the presentations, and we have time for questions, comments, and reflections from the audience. So I invite all of you to post your questions in the chat for making the things easier and faster. Raise your hand and I will grant you permission to give you the microphone and maybe open the camera if you want to share your insights. And let us start with some questions from that we have already from the audience from the chat. So let me find the first one. That is, hello, it's from Amadine Colson. Amadine, I will give you the floor to let me give me a moment. I will find you. Give me a moment. Also. Okay, now you are able to open your mic and your camera, of course, if you want, and you can raise your question. Thank you. Yeah, Amadine, you can unmute yourself. It seems that you are facing some problems, but in any case, I will address the questions as you have written it. Hello, there is some talking in the background with, oh, no, sorry, not this one. Sorry, this was another. Yes, are there any European projects programs to stop doing new construction in sea, rivers, buffer, natural flooding areas, and start rebuilding restoration of biodiversity habitats? This question is addressed by Henry. Is there anyone that feels like responding on this question?
I will try, Dimitri. I mean, the project related to biodiversity, nature-based solutions, etc., are mostly funded by the European Climate, Environment and Infrastructure Executive Agency, which is the SINEA. So it's a different agency that potentially is the funder of, these projects and announces this call. So
Okay.
there might be some projects related to biodiversity, nature-based solutions, but not under cluster 2, which is, funds this type of projects that we're talking today.
Thank you, Panos. The question by Amadine was about wood deformation underwater. If someone wants to give some more information regarding this.
Is wood deformation occur underwater?
Yeah, this is, you can see it also in the Q&A session. My question is about wood deformation underwater, says Amadine.
Wood deformation underwater. Well, I mean, at least in THETIDA, because we're having a lot of underwater elements, and I understand based on the Amadine expertise that is focusing also on underwater archaeology.
Dimitros.
Yeah. Nusret, do you want to mention?
Yes, Professor Dreskovic, you can take the floor, and then Dennis Istrati. Yeah. I think we have lost Nusret, so Dennis, if you may. Yeah, please unmute yourself, please, Dennis.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, I have two comments. Doesn't reply exactly to what our colleague is asking, but yeah, we actually looked at underwater structure that were made of masonry, and so there, under wave actions, you have significant erosion effects. So we expect that erosion effects will be in timber as well. Now, timber structure have the unique thing that they degrade much easier. So one of our sites we had actually was under. It was on the lake, but in principle, it was under the soil and the water. So yeah, there, for example, the biggest threat was from the fact that the water level will fluctuate during the year. And so it's not that it's an extreme event that will, damage your structure, but rather a gradual event when it comes to timber structure. So this is what I have to say. And an extra comment, because, he also asked a more generic question. In past events, it has been seen that, for example, during hurricanes and tsunamis, timber structure are some of the more sensitive to these hydrodynamic actions.
Thank you, Dennis. Panos, do you want to comment on that? Because I do not see Nusret, maybe he had a technical issue.
Yes, we're focusing a lot also on underwater, heritage, with some of the shipwrecks are based on timber, so they have wooden elements, which we studied as part of THETIDA project, maybe from the hyperspectral sensing, in which we have results about the degradation areas on the wooden elements and the presence of shipworms. So yes, wood deformation might occur, might be related to, environmental physical parameters. And this is something that we're, creating the baseline so as future expeditions can, further detect the degradation as the time passes.
Perfect, thank you. Anyone else wants to comment on that, or we can go to the next one, I think. So Snezana, have given you access to use your mic. If you can open and unmute yourself and pose the question directly.
Maybe it
Or
seems
else,
that the mic is not working properly.
yeah, I can see.
Yes.
So if you can write the question on the chat, that would be easier. Let's go to the next question, or let's say remark by Carlota. Great presentation. Quick heads up for the community. The CREU in IN Heritage Eurocluster is launching a cascade call for proposals on February 16. Okay, interesting information. Focus innovation for cultural heritage, open to SMEs from all ecosystems. Eligibility, SMEs in countries eligible for the SMP program. Funding 77,000 euros and 120 per project. And you can find on the chat the link for this call. So thank you very much. Henry also asks, how does the project work internationally? For example, when the water level increase here in the Mediterranean area, it also increase in the Great Lakes in America. So I ask myself how you can predict the risk here if that is not considered. So if you can also check it is the last comment on the chat. If someone some from the speaker side wants to reply on that.
Dimitri, at least in our case in THETIDA, we're not looking on a global scale about risks. We're looking on a local to regional scale in the pilots that we're investigating about flood risks. So I give the floor to Dennis, if you can reply on this.
Just to back you up, the same thing here, and the reason is not that we selected that, is because that's what the call wants. This is not a call that looks focused on ocean sciences, on climate sciences, but rather on the impact on cultural heritage. Having said that, though, the good thing is that there is consistency if you look in the climate science field, in the sense that there are SSP scenarios. So most of this project, including ours, and I think the colleagues as well, when we look, let's say, at future flood risk scenarios, or we look at future storm surge scenarios, we start from a Copernicus database, which by default is associated with an SSP scenario. And that SSP scenario is consistent. It should be consistent for globally, okay? But at the end of the day, because those are at the scale of 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers, and just gives you the hazard, in order to understand what happens to the lake in the US and what happens to our sites in Mediterranean Sea, you need local impact studies to be done for both sides, and we have not done for the US, okay? So I think that puts things into perspective.
Thank you, Dennis. Snezana, now you can open your microphone so you can pose your question by yourself.
Yes, thank you. Kalimera, kalispera to everyone. I meant to just to answer on the previous question Henry posted, I think. There is a project, Restore for Life, which is a part of Ocean Mission group of project, Lighthouse, Danube Lighthouse, which is all about restoration, wetland restoration on natural-based solutions. So if you want, I can share. We are also the partners on that project, University of Sarajevo. Nusret is also coordinator for the University of Sarajevo and University of Novi Sad. I'm Snežana Radulović, professor from the University of Novi Sad, Serbia. So if you are interested in that project, the project coordinator is from Mihail Adamescu, Mihail Christian Adamescu from the University of Bucharest, and Gabriela Wagner from Baku, the Baku University. So I can put the link to that project so you can learn more. And there are a lot of projects, but not in this area. So we are, from the Faculty of Science, we are somehow linked between cultural heritage protection and nature conservation and cultural conservation, which is exciting. So I think there are a lot of projects, actually.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And it is very important for us to have knowledge of how the community is going before, during, and after the life cycle of these projects, the climate effect process. So thank you very much. Also, we have a remark if anyone wants to see from India, from Mr. Kiran. So you can see it there. Thank you, Kiran, for introducing yourself, and I hope your studies in climate change goes as you wish. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you, maybe he can send us an email and we can connect him to you. So thank you for introducing yourself. Do you have any other questions? And
No, I had only the answer.
yeah, yes, Nizana.
Thank you. Ευχαριστώ.
Thank you. And what about Amadine Colson? If you want, I can give you the floor. I will get. No. Okay. Thank you for your comments. And whatever you need, you may contact the speakers. So, do you have any other questions, or we can call it an end in time, or something else that the speakers want to add?
Maybe just about the meta repository, because Martin
Yes,
asked
Asset.
in the chat. I was talking with Aichiver, and we thought that there is no we can let it public. So I will paste the direction in the chat of the tool. Is also in the presentation, and I think that by the end of the week it will be public. So without logging, you could access to the meta repository.
Perfect. Thank you for letting us know. And of course, if anyone wants to learn more, he or she can contact you directly, and Technali and RescueME. So, any other notes? Dennis, Aids, Panos, Anastasia, Nusret?
Yes, Dimitri, from our
Yes,
side
Panos?
also, we're going to publish the THETIDA platform in the next 2 months. So colleagues will receive information through our channels. But as I mentioned also in the last slide of my presentation, we're going also to announce the official publication of the special issue at Elsevier Climate Risk Management Journal. So everyone is invited to contribute and submit their research on the journal. Thank you.
Thank you,
Panagiotis,
Panos.
you should expect from us a submission for sure. Be nice to review. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to collaborate with all this project. Really, I mean, comparable to other countries like in the US, having this opportunity to do joint things at the European Union level, it's really amazing. So thank you for making this us having a bigger impact altogether. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Aids, last
Oh, the
note?
same. I'm very happy to have this opportunity, and also has been, I mean, the project now start to end, but it has been really nice to have this journey together and to share so many nice things, not only technically or scientifically. Also, we are very interested in panels in this special issue, so please send us more information for us. And thank you, Dimitris, also for organizing this and for let us join to this opportunity. And thank you to everybody who has joined us. And we are open to any kind of question if you can contact us by email or through our webpage.
So thank you all very much for your active participation, insightful presentations, and of course the excellent collaboration. Me personally, I would like to thank each one of you. It was a pleasure, and we will continue, of course, to do mutual things for common interest. I would like to let you know that this webinar was recorded and will be uploaded to at least THETIDA social media and YouTube, and the same, I suppose, that will happen for the other projects. And last but not least, I would like to say that today's webinar clearly demonstrated how EU-funded research, when combined through specifically with the Greek cluster cooperation, can deliver real impact for the protection and sustainable management of cultural heritage in a changing climate. So on behalf of THETIDA, ICCS and all partner projects, thank you very much for joining us. We are looking forward to continuing the dialogue and collaboration in future Green Cluster activities. Have a great day and goodbye. Thank you very much.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.